The question is, was Donald Trump surprised by that? Did he know it was Larry David, or did he think it was actually a member of the audience shouting at him? We have Donald Trump on the phone right now to ask him. Are you there?
Hi, Tucker.
How you doing?
So Hello, everybody.
Hey, good morning. Were you expecting to be shouted at?
Yes, I was. I must tell you.
It was scripted.
That was scripted. That was, believe me, I want to have that scripted. I want to know what's coming when it comes to that stuff.
Well, people are on social media this morning saying you made SNL great again. How did it go?
Well, we had tremendous reviews, and I'm really honored. I had a fantastic evening, and, you know, Lorne Michaels is a terrific guy, and he called me and he wanted to do this, and so we said, it's not easy to do. You know, it's a big crowd of people watching last night, I would imagine. I guess the ratings will come out, and I think the ratings will be very high. But that's a lot of action going on last night, and we had a good time. Everybody had a great time.
Yeah, well, the clips we've seen we think are hilarious, and I love that they brought Darrell Hammond back. It shows just the scope of how long Donald Trump has been around. But the reviews online have been mixed. Some people think that you weren't as funny as they expected, and they like you better when you're, you know, out on the campaign trail doing your own thing. What do you say to that?
Well, I think I'm honored by that. I like that better. I like if they would say that they like me better in person than on some scripted show. I think that's great. But the reviews have been really good. I mean, I've been hearing good things. I mean, look, it's all in fun. And we had a terrific time. You know, the whole thing with the Hispanics is totally overblown. Very, very few people showed up last night, and they were gone before the show even started. You know why? You know what happened. They went home to watch the show. So that's what happened. I mean, they were all gone before the show started, which was nice, actually.
So the week's news toward the end of it, anyway, was dominated by Ben Carson and his biography, and a couple of different news organizations tracking down people who knew him in his youth. And you had this kind of weird scenario where Ben Carson was trying to convince the media that he did in fact stab someone and did in fact go after his wife, his mother, with a hammer. No other candidates in the race criticized him except you. Why are you the only one criticizing Ben Carson?
Well, it's not criticizing. Look, he's got to do his thing. I'm just saying it's the first time in the history. In fact, it was sort of, they wanted to do a skit on it, and I said, let's not do that. It's not appropriate. But this is the first time in history where you want to prove that you hit your mother with a hammer. You want to prove that you hit a friend in the face with a lock. You want to prove that you tried to stab somebody to death in order to have credibility. This is, in history, this is the first time, and, you know, it's a whole weird deal going on here, so I don't know. I mean, look, I hope everything's going to be okay for Ben. I've had a good relationship with Ben. I hope it works out. I hope this isn't going to be disqualifying, and maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe the way it goes, I mean, who knows what's going to happen. But
well, that's pretty big, though. Donald Trump telling Lorne Michaels which skits to do and not to do. I know I saw you on Bill O'Reilly, and you said you trumped them by saying some of them were too risque when they were showing you the scripts for some of them, but you told them you didn't want to do anything on Ben Carson?
Anna, they wanted to do something on this whole situation about Ben where, you know, when you're wanting to hit your mother with a hammer and all of this, and you want to prove that it took place in order to keep credibility, and I said, just leave it alone. Because you know what's going to happen. I would get blamed for it. Nobody else is going to get blamed for it. Believe me. I'll be the one to take the heat. I said, let's just relax and go about our lives.
Mr. Trump, let's get to some of the big issues. Obviously, there's a big Fox Business Network debate Tuesday with the Wall Street Journal. You'll be there. That will be unscripted, unlike last night, as you say. We asked our viewers for questions, one from Joan in South Carolina. I'd like to know how Mr. Trump feels about the rejected pipeline by the president. As you answer that, can you be specific about what you would do now that he's rejected the pipeline to actually create jobs?
Okay, it's a great question. I would absolutely approve it, but I would go back and renegotiate the deal, as I would with virtually every deal made in the last many, many years, even beyond Obama. I would renegotiate the deal with the people wanting to put the pipeline in. I'd want a piece of the profits coming to the United States. We're making it feasible. We're making it practical. We're using eminent domain, which, by the way, you have to use when you're doing a job like this, or when you're doing a road or a highway or anything like this. So we're giving them certain powers that they could never get without us. I would absolutely say, as a business guy, this is what I do. This is what I do really well. I would say I want it. I like the jobs. Environmentally, it's better than having trucks running down a road spewing out fumes. It's better. And I would want, because don't forget, we're really pumping out fuel and energy from Canada. And I think that's great. But I'd want like 25% of the profits for the United States.
Yeah.
Nobody's asked for that. And I'm sure it's the first time you've heard it. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. Everybody's going to hear this show because so many people listen, especially, they listen. And people are going to say, oh, gee, that's a good idea. The candidates will now take that idea and they will bring it forward as their idea. But the difference is they won't be able to implement it. I will.
Here's a question from Dagny. If you're not elected president, with your negotiating skills, don't you agree you'd be a great Secretary of State? Would you like that? Would you like to be the person running America's diplomacy?
Well, I think I would actually be a good Secretary of State because I get along. I have many, many deals all over the world. 17, 18 different countries, get along with prime ministers, get along with everybody.
No, but better than John Kerry?
I even get along with Democrats, and people say, oh, you shouldn't get along. We have to go back to getting along, so executive orders aren't signed for everything. But I don't know, it just wouldn't be me. I think it probably will. I will go into the sunset, and I will build my buildings, and I will go to Scotland, Turnberry, and I'll go to Doral in Miami, and I'll go all over the place and keep doing what I've been doing for the last long period of time, which I love doing. The only reason I'm running is because I will make America great again, and I don't see anybody else that can do that.
Mr. Trump, quickly on another subject, over the last 24 hours has been major breaking news about the flight recorder telling us that this plane that went down in Egypt, that there was an explosion on board. We know ISIS has claimed responsibility. That has not been confirmed. But do you think, as a potential commander-in-chief, that we've hit just a whole new phase here in the war on terror where either ISIS could have somebody on the inside at that airport or something else, a bomb that was not detectable got onto that plane?
This is more serious than anything that's happened. Probably is ISIS, but it certainly seems to have been a bomb. And if it's ISIS, we have to hit them regardless. We have to hit them so hard and so fast, and we have to take away their source of wealth, which is oil. They have oil now, and they're making a lot of money with the oil, and the money is funding and fueling everything. We have to hit them so fast and so hard at their source. And I've been saying this, and you folks know it because I've been telling you, but I've been saying this for a long time, and people have been scoffing. Oh, you can't do that. You can't go in and hit their oil. You got to hit their oil. Now everyone's agreeing with me. In fact, I heard the other day Ben Carson was using exactly my words to say, and people were scoffing at it 6 months ago. I've been saying it for 3 years.
So you're saying, in your book, which I read last night on the airplane, you say that we should destroy the oil production in parts of Syria and Iraq.
And grab it back. By the way, we'll grab it back and we'll take it back. You have no idea how fast Exxon and these companies can bring it right back to health. But I mean hit it hard, Tucker. Hit it really hard. Take away the oil. They're making millions and millions of dollars a week. And that's fueling all of the stuff that they're doing on the Internet. They have better Internet access than we do. They make us look like babies. They're recruiting people from our country. And the worst is going to be when they recruit people from our country to stay in our country and do damage in our country. We have to take away their source of wealth fast. And people are now using that expression and saying what I'm saying. Of course, they don't mention my name, but that's okay. But people are now saying I was right.
All right, Donald Trump, we want to get your thoughts on something Hillary Clinton said in Orangeburg, South Carolina yesterday. She wants to ease federal regulations on marijuana so that more research can be done, she says, on medical marijuana is her reasoning behind it. What is Donald Trump's position on marijuana and the legalization?
Well, I think it's a state-by-state issue, Anna. I think very strongly it's a state-by-state. It's in Colorado now, and they're having certain questions about it. Is it having an impact on people's health, on brain powers, et cetera, et cetera? So they really are having an issue, but let them look at that issue, and others are looking at it. As you know, it was just rejected in Ohio, which was a ridiculous referendum because it gave one company a monopoly on the whole state, which was crazy. But frankly, I think it's a state-by-state. As far as medical marijuana, I would say that's something we should really consider strongly, because people are sick, and it does have a huge impact on a lot of people have said it has a huge impact on the pain and the suffering they have to go through.
Right.
So for medical, that's one thing, but for the rest, I think that should be state by state.
All right, Donald Trump, thanks for joining us first after the big appearance last night. We appreciate it, and we'll see you Tuesday night at the Fox Business Debate.
And I love your Drake dancing skills.
Well, I'll tell you, we had a good time, but Drake is a much better dancer than I
As I say, number one in the polls,
Have a
Donald
nice
Trump.
weekend.
There you go.